So before we go into specifics about the 9 Mile Love, how is this project different than The Good People apart from the musical influence?
Apart from musical influence, The Good People EP, this was unintentional, but if you look at The Good People EP, it has a brighter feel to it. So if you look at the album cover, in the bottom of it is the symbol, the Taino symbol for the sun god. And in the 9 Mile Love EP, it's completely in the dark. You can barely even see that I'm in the picture. And with the Good People EP, the difference between that is that the Good People EP had more of a physical, political attack to it. It was more physical in terms of like, I'm talking about situations that have happened in the past and that are going on today. But 9 Mile Love EP is more of like an emotional, spiritual, pointing out our issues.
Okay. I think the Good People EP is a classic. You have one of my favorite songs I've heard in years, which is Paradise. I love that song.
Thank you.
Every time, I'm telling you, people in my house hear me sing that song. Like, I love it. It lives with me. On this project, you have songs that live as well that we're going to touch on, but one thing about Solis that impresses me is his love for the world rather than being selfish. Describe that for me and why you put it in your music.
I think that goes back to the philosophy that I was saying where God is love. In terms of that, if you were to paint a perfect picture of the world, if it was possible to create a euphoria, the one thing you'd see the most in that euphoric picture is love. And for me, it's important to know where you come from. I don't like when people say I don't see color. It's important to see that, when you put a light through prism, you see 7 different colors, or several different colors that come out of that one piece of light. And I think that's what makes the world beautiful, is the fact that we're all different. And it's okay to be proud of where you come from, and you're supposed to be proud where you come from. You're supposed to learn who you are in this spectrum of colors. And it's also important to understand that everything outside of you is you as well, even though that it may be different. If we're looking at it from a soul perspective, yeah, physically we're different, but we have the same creator. And I think that's also important. I think that's what's lacking in the world.
I think it's lacking in music too, because we've bastardized music, and music is God's gift ultimately because it's expression and we live to rhythm. Mm-hmm. And also when it comes to love, we've bastardized love because KRS once said it best: I love my house, or I love this girl, I love my car. And most people don't even know how to love themselves because they don't know how to receive love and give love back the same way.
Yeah.
We live in a very narcissistic society. People are very vain. TV is the #1 drug in the world, especially America. And now that you can get TV on your phone, you're walking around getting high every day.
Yeah.
And some people are getting to high to the point where they're altering their bodies to take pictures, to take advantage of other people using that drug. With the 9 Mile Love, though, it is the calling back to self-satisfaction through self-destruction. And what I mean is, you're breaking down the self to understand a higher plane of understanding. Why do you think that's so necessary in music while everybody else is throwing up cash phones, twerking? Not saying I don't like twerking though, but cash phones, twerking, and anything that's not building of a society or a people.
You mean like it's important to have a self-destruction before going into a better mind state, is what you're saying?
What do you think?
Okay, so when you said self-destruction, it brought me back to a moment that I had to go through and that I'm still going through. I don't think self-destruction completely stops when you're trying to grow. I realized that I do a lot of things, or that people do a lot of things without understanding why. And I think when people stop and look at themselves and be like, why do I always do that? Something as simple as one word that you constantly, completely say all the time and you don't know what's the reason for it. I think a good example would be the Will Smith interview that he did with his wife. Do you know the name of the podcast that she has?
No, 'cause I don't watch.
All right.
But I know Jada Pinkett Smith's Round Table or something like that.
If you watch that interview, Will Smith tells stories about when he would buy his wife this house, and at the time he was like, "This house is for you," and he pimped the whole house out with lights and everything that she ever wanted, quote unquote wanted, and she was upset, and he realized that the house that he bought for her, he didn't necessarily buy it for her, he bought it for his ego. And he didn't realize that until years later, where he actually looked at himself and looked at the situation and said, wow, this was a product of my ego. And I think we go through that every day. Something as simple as if you don't have your phone's dead, you need to buy a new one. Or it's broken, you need to buy a new one. Do you know how many times you tap your pockets looking for your phone even though you know that it's broken? Like, that is a habit that people just randomly do. Like, I do it sometimes. And I feel like once we start looking at ourselves and analyzing the little things that we do that are unconscious, that's when we could realize the bigger problems that are inside of us, and we could actually, you know, heal those little sections that need repair.
So we get to that point. I want to give you a hip-hop lyric. I want you to tell me what it means to you.
Okay.
And the lyric is, to evolve to self-respect, because we got to get ourselves in check. What does that mean to you?
To revolve, to evolve. And what was the next line?
I'll say it again. To evolve to self-respect, because we got to keep ourselves in check.
To self-respect, because we got to keep ourselves in check. Well, all right, so I'm thinking of it literally. So when you say to revolve, I'm thinking of the act of the planet spinning and orbiting. To evolve, to change to the environment for the better, you know, survival of the fittest. To respect, because we got to keep ourselves in check. I think that's like a completely perfect picture of how it goes. You know what I mean? Like you're revolving, you're moving, and as you're moving along this path, you have to evolve with what comes. You know, the changes that have to come with it, but also to understand that you can't hate what's coming at you as you're doing this movement, as you're evolving. You know, things are gonna get difficult, but you have to respect that this is a part of what growth is. And once you respect what comes at you, whether it's good or bad, and you learn that this is a growing process, I think it humbles you down.
That's why I like your music, because that verse is from Public Enemy. That's Chuck D on the Self-Destruction song. That's the last.
Wait. The
part.
Self-Destruction. You never know.
See, when I listen to MCs, great artists, not just people who rap, I get a call back to older things of my generation, my youth, and it excites me.
I appreciate that.
So like I said, you have made music that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And I'm not here to like jock you or whatever.
No.
My thing is just all appreciation. So one thing I appreciate about Solis is clarity, expression, wordplay, and independence from the beat. Why is your style that way? Was it intentional, or was that you just evolving in time?
I think that's always been me, but unrefined, like a blunt knife. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, when I first started rapping, I always had clarity from when I was rapping. Like I wanted everybody to hear every word, and the fact that it's so witty, yet it touches an emotional part of the listener. I've always tried to accomplish that in my works, because I feel as if though that I'm an emotional person, and not to say that that's like a bad thing, but emotional in the sense that I'm in tune with how I feel towards certain subjects and the passion that I have to help people grow, to help people learn. And whether my philosophy is correct or wrong, it's just like I'm willing to tell you how I feel, and I'm ready to receive how you feel about it. And I think over time, the music became more musical. You know, no longer am I trying to out-rap the next rapper. I don't care. That part of me is gone. I do not care to be number one in your list. The one thing that matters to me the most is how many people are hearing what I have to say. You know, that to me became the most important thing, because, you know, you can have the number one spot, that's cool, but I want you to think about something different.